If you're looking for a fantastic vantage point to look down across Canberra and see all of Canberra and to see all of the great features of Canberra, you can't go past this location where I am now. So here in the National Arboretum in Canberra, not only are the trees fascinating because of the botanical reasons and the uses and the beauty of the trees, but there's some amazing history that sits behind some of these trees. When the 2003 fire burnt through this area, it left a few trees behind. There's a cork plantation that was planted back in the 1920s and 30s as an experiment to see if cork trees could grow in Canberra, and a plantation of them survived the fires. The Himalayan cedars survived the fires, and a few Pinus radiata, the Monterey pines, also survived. But here we have a couple of Aleppo pines, the lone pine from the First World War from Gallipoli, also survived. Now this tree is a very important tree in Australian history because the lone pine was a major battle during the First World War at Gallipoli. There was a tree on the top of this ridge, hence the name lone pine. Seeds were brought back from that tree and planted in Australia, and there's a magnificent specimen growing next to the War Memorial, which is a direct descendant of that tree from Turkey. From that tree we've now collected seed, and we're now planting a third generation of Aleppo pine or lone pine here in the National Arboretum in Canberra. And these trees are not only beautiful trees, and not only are they providing food for birds, I can see the birds have been eating the cones from these trees, but they represent a link, and a symbolic link, but a very important link between the people of Turkey and the people of Australia. So here we are on the top of the hill in the National Arboretum of Canberra, and I can point out some of the great features that you can see from this location. Firstly, we have Yarralumla, which is the residence of the Governor-General. If we pan around to the left, we've got New Parliament House sitting in the centre of the view there. As we come around to the lake, we have a lot of the national institutions, and you can see the waterjet, the Captain Cook waterjet there, sitting in the middle of the National Triangle. A little round from the jet, we can see the city, Canberra City, the major commercial part of the city, and immediately behind it is Mount Ainslie, another great vantage point to see the city, particularly the location from which the city was laid out and designed. And finally, as we move around, we can see on the top of Black Mountain, Telstra Tower, which is a telecommunications tower built back in the 1970s. And it's a feature that dominates the Canberra landscape. So being a bird watcher and being a lover of Canberra, this has obviously got to be one of my favourite sites around the city. This is a sculpture of a wedge-tailed eagle done by Richard Moffat, and this sculpture is called The Nest. And as you can see, it's made out of little bits of scrap that have been found around the paddocks around Canberra, been welded together to make this representation of a wedge-tailed eagle sitting in its eyrie here on the top of National Arboretum. In the middle of Canberra. I love this work. It's done by Richard Moffat, and I just think it's quirky, and it's recycling, and it's about birds, and it's sitting here on the top of the hill, which is where a wedge-tailed eagle, of course, would have its nest, sitting on a high tree in a location like this, looking out over the magnificent view of Canberra below. So I hope you've enjoyed this clip, and of course Canberra Guided Tours does a range of amazing tours in and around the nation's capital. We do stories about the buildings, we do stories about the wildlife, we do stories about the interesting people that have made this city and made this region. So if you've enjoyed the clips and that you are coming to Canberra one day, we'd love to see you come along on one of our trips. Come to Canberra, come out with Canberra Guided Tours, and we will share you some of the magic of our city.